Hello world and welcome back at the Global AI Community on virtual tour. My name is Sami. I'm together with Alicia. We're hosting the following two sessions. Yes, last two, but we're at the end. It doesn't mean the sessions will get worse or anything. We'll still have awesome talks. So I'm happy to have you all. And for now, we can welcome Arafat Tehsin. Good afternoon, Arafat. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine. We're very glad to have you.
Thank
Arafat is a software consultant and Microsoft AI MVP. He's been working with global ISVs of Microsoft and developing some next-gen solutions using cutting-edge Microsoft technologies. Arafat, may I ask you, where are you located and what time is it at the moment there?
Yeah, so it's 1 p.m. right now in Sydney, and I'm located in Sydney, of course. So, yeah, it's a bright, sunny, little chilled, and a good weather over here.
Well,
Yeah.
that's nice to hear. For us, it was also the last days very nice.
Yeah.
Arafat, your session is going to talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, also Bot
Yeah.
Framework Composer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the platform to you and go ahead.
Cool. So, welcome everyone. It's been a pleasure that you guys, I'm sure that everybody has been involved from across all the world. Time by time, I got a chance to watch a couple of sessions as well when I was up. So, first of all, thank you to all the organizers who have done a tremendous job. Without you people, it wouldn't have been possible. And you guys have brought a really quality content from across the globe and presented in front of everybody just for the free of cost. So this is really cool. I'm going to talk about bot framework composer and how you can leverage this capability to build a simple flight bot as well, and of course other very cool bots. So we'll discuss about this. Little bit about me, as Sammy has already described. So I'm Arafat Tehsin, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for AI. I am quite passionate about bridging the gap of business applications and artificial intelligence, especially around applied AI. I have a dream to empower every developer with AI capabilities. So that's why I'm running a new blog post called AI for every developer as well. I'm also one of the founding members of Bot Builder Community Project, which is there on GitHub. So if you are interested in bots and if you want to collaborate for the community across broad framework capabilities, please reach out to me. I will be able to assist you with for anything you would like to contribute about. And if you want to connect with me on Twitter, here's my handle. Please feel free to connect with me. If you have got any questions around this area, please let me know. So we'll talk about first introduction to bots. I know there have been a lot of sessions about bots. I think 3 or 4 sessions about bots, and everybody must have delivered in their own ways. So I'll be discussing about that why and why are we caring about bots now, why they are important. Then I'll be discussing about the design principles or success factors for the bots. And it has been seen that normally these factors are ignored, and that is why we end up having a very bad user experience or very bad success rate. So, and in the end, I will discuss about Bot Framework Composer. So, Bot Framework Composer, it is a new tool by Microsoft Bot Framework team. We'll discuss about this at the last, and we'll see a demo as well. So, let's start with what are bots. So bots are basically the services which are powered by rules people are using in their messaging apps. It is also known as, or it's also considered as a new user interface paradigm. It means that earlier we used to have emails, websites, mobile apps, and then now businesses are more interested in this paradigm. So you can see that there are a lot of organizations who are investing in bots and coming up with very cool and productive solutions. So, and it's not just the small companies. Even if you see this quote from Satya, I think it's from Build 2016 or 17. He said that bots are the new apps. So it means that the bigger companies, bigger uh, industries are also looking into this aspect. If you notice these icons, so you can easily relate these icons to the applications which people are using on day-to-day basis, either for their personal or professional purposes. The good part of so the good part of this these icons, that people, first of all, these are all chat applications. So uh, people like to talk to each other, right? And that is why they are growing. Now the best part of that is Microsoft bot framework or Microsoft conversational AI capabilities are capable enough to build the bots for all of these channels. So, and without writing us with writing or without writing a code as well. So, and you don't have to differentiate a code base among them. So it means that if you are writing a single bot for Teams, you can easily configure it for Facebook Messenger. You can easily configure it for other channels as well. And with the love of open source community, since bot framework is 100% open source, and I have been building bots using bot framework since 2017. So I can safely say that it is one of the most extensive open source frameworks right now which we have ever seen. And the team is there on GitHub. If you want to contribute, if you want to collaborate with them, if you want to have any discussions with them on what is coming up and what do you as a customer want to see, so you can also interact with them easily. And because of the open source community and because of the bot builder community project, we have got the support of other channels as well now. So we have got the support for Google Assistant, Microsoft Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, Twitter, WhatsApp, and WeChat as well. So what it means that you can write a bot for Teams. You can also expose the same bot to Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. So it's really cool. So no bot framework in general is supporting these many channels right now. And these are a couple of statistics I was going through, so I thought to include it over here. As you can see that Gartner has marked bots or agent interfaces as the top third digital trend for 2020. And if you notice the trends worldwide, that how many people or what is the rank of people looking for bots. So New Zealand is on the top of it, and of course Australia is on second. So, and followed by Canada, United Kingdom, and Estonia. So yeah, so this is the trend. People are now looking forward this technology more and more. Bots are undoubtedly an asset to the digital transformation. You can build bots for many use cases, and some of them I have listed over here, from flight booking to ticket booking to in-house support for customer onboarding processes. You can easily build bots, and it will of course enhance your user experience and reduce your cost. So now let's discuss about design principles and guidelines or the success factors of your bots. This is one of the key topics as I wanted to discuss, because I have seen a lot of bots which end up in failure because of very, very bad user experience. And the reason for that is your bot must be used by people. So if you are creating a bot, it must be used by people. If you are not, if you are just creating for the sake of creating it and putting it in your Facebook page, without any adding any value to it, I don't think that it will be used by anyone. So you will end up just in wasting your money. So it must be used by people. This is one of the first success factor. Second, your bot should have the ability to compete for users' time against your existing mobile applications or websites. So there should be certain use cases in your scenarios, in your business scenarios, that should compete with your mobile apps and websites. Just to give you an example, that FAQs are very successful strategy for bots, and mobile apps and websites are not helpful enough to find out the frequently asked questions, whereas are really good at it. So, and the last one is prioritize the right factors which are good for your business. Do not overburden your bot with everything what your mobile app or website has. So you can just keep one or two features in your bot which are good, which are really keyed for your bot, and you don't need everything to be developed for your bot. Now, these are some of the non-influencing factors which are mistakenly considered as influential factors. So how AI driven your bot is, it is not the mark of or measure of success. Does it support natural language processing? Does it support voice, or does it answer on your behalf? These are not the factors which are going to drive the success of your bot. In fact, the success factors are those which are going to solve your user's problem in an efficient way. Is your bot discoverable, or is it available across all the channel? Discoverable means if I'm coming to you to interact with your bot, am I able to get the correct answer, or the answer which I'm expecting rather than some other answers? So for that, the welcome message is most important. First impression is the key for retaining customers. Now imagine this message. If you encounter this message by a bot, how will you react? And instead, if you create a bot with some descriptive or menu style information, so you will be in a good shape to retain your customers. So just see on the left right hand side that you have got two examples. One of them is saying, hi, how may I help you? And the other one is saying, how this is AMA Airlines bot, how may I help you today? And it is giving some options as well. So by this, it won't hurt the smartness of your bot. Rather, it will increase the user experience. So we should keep the user experience in our consideration, whether we are designing the bot, website, or mobile apps. And the reason for that is, in traditional user experience or websites, you can forms are basically the input tools for your applications. In bots, messages are the ones which keep the experience active. So we should always keep or consider user experience as a top priority. Now let's discuss about the navigation patterns. So broadly speaking, there are two navigation patterns. One of them is non-linear or free-form, where you allow customers to send any message, and your bot should be ready to respond on that. Uh, the challenging part for this is you have to cater across all the cases of your bots, and it is very difficult. The second navigation pattern is sequential or guided. So what you can do is you can provide hints to the customer, and by that, customer will also know that this is the input which is required, so that you don't have to cater for some exceptional scenarios which you saw in nonlinear or freeform. However, there is something called interruption, and of course it is natural. um, there is no right or wrong answers for handling interruptions. It depends upon you as a bot creator, as a developer, as an owner, that how do you want to handle these interruptions. So I have listed down a couple of questions for you to answer for yourself, for your bot. And then you can, when you think that, okay, in my use case, I want to discard previous information and I want to start from a new one. It depends upon you. So as I said, there is no right or wrong answer. It is 100% dependent upon business. In bot framework, mainly or across Microsoft Conversational AI, we have got the capabilities that you can embed rich controls in your bot. So as you see on this screen, these are all adaptive cards. So what are adaptive cards? I'll show you in a while, but this is just to tell you that these rich controls can be embedded into your bot to give a very good user experience and something which is trending as well, except for the rightmost on the bottom side, which is an out of the box sign in button. You can build all of them, even sign in button of course, but this is on the right hand side. Sign in button is out of the box, but rest of them are adaptive cards. Then, in addition to this, we have got text and natural language understanding capabilities in bot framework as well. You can use all of these APIs, including the other APIs, which are IBM Watson, Amazon Alexa, Google Dialogflow, and of course, speech APIs. Now we have got the support for speech, direct line speech as well. So you can utilize speech bot capabilities as well. Now, let's discuss about what options do we have from Microsoft Conversational AI platform. So for this, we have got so many things in the stack. Which one to choose is 100% dependent upon your business objective. We have got Power Virtual Agents, we have got Bot Framework Bot or Bot Framework Composer, which is still in preview. Of course, it is not recommended for the production use, but later on it will be released. I don't know when, but yes, it will be released not very far from today. Uh, we have got the virtual assistant enterprise template as well, which other many big companies are using to build their digital assistants. So then you also have the capability to choose whether you want to go with code or no code. If we are going with code, we have got the extensive support from Java to Node to C Sharp to even Go and Python. So you can imagine that we have got extensive support, and of course everything then goes to Azure bot service and then it is exposed to channels. So it depends upon our business objective, that how do we want to go with our bots approach, and then we have got the options. Let's discuss about Bot Framework Composer. Bot Framework Composer is latest tool which was released few months back and which is still in preview. It's an open source tool. As I said, that whole bot framework is open source. So it's an open source development tool. It's a visual authoring canvas. You can drag and drop, create the bots. The good part is it's low code tool, so it's not no code tool. So you can write a lot of new syntax to build complex conversations as well, and we'll see that how we can do that. I'll give you a brief demo on that. So it has tools to train the language models internally. We don't have to worry about our language models. We don't have to worry about keeping our templates. So we'll see that. Before we go into the demo, let's have a look at some of the new concepts of bot framework. So these concepts are heavily used by bot framework composer. One of them is language understanding. So language understanding is considered as the core component of bot framework composer. It allows you to add natural language capabilities to your bot through Lewis, which is language understanding intelligence service. It is one of the cognitive services of language category in Azure, or with recognizers using simple regex. It supports LG format. So if you see on the right side, I have written the whole Lewis on the right side. This is the real Lewis written on the right side. I'll show you with the demo. So you can define your whole Lewis without going to the Lewis portal now. And you can write the whole intents, entities, and everything. You can define everything over here, including the utterances, of course. So as I said, that bot framework Composer is responsible for training the language model. So you don't have to go to the Lewis portal and click on train and then publish. So it will be done automatically. We just have to provide the authoring key, Lewis authoring key to the bot framework, and we'll see in demo. Another one is language generation. Language generation allows you to send multiple variations of the responses without having to write any complex code. I remember we developed some of the bots in 2018, and where we had to write an XML or JSON to randomly pick the responses. So now, thankfully, we have this template. You can just define it. If you see there are two images. So one of them on the top one is I have just defined the responses followed by the hyphen, and the below one is I'm just refreshing it, and you can see that after refreshing it, it is randomly picking up the response. So the good part of it is that it separates the business logic from the presentation. You can even send the whole activity, such as adoptive cards, using this response. So we'll also see in that demo as well. Last one is adoptive expressions. So adoptive expressions is the expression or the expression language, you can say, or you can say these are the pre-built functions. You can also write custom functions in that, and these are the expressions to evaluate the user's input. So if you see on my top example, I have just defined that flight. If I'm getting a flight number from my conversation object, and I'm turning it into the I'm getting the flight number and turning it to upper, and then storing it in my flight number object. So yes, so you can write an expression to you can write expression to evaluate the user's input. So we'll see that in demo now. Before we go to demo, I'll just let you know that what you need to do to have bot framework composer on your machine. So you need to have a bot framework, which you can install it by going on this link. You need to have bot framework emulator. You can go and download it from that link. If you want to publish your bot, you need Azure subscription, or if you don't have it, just grab a trial, try creating bot on it, and then you can expose it to different channels. I have written just provided two links. Microsoft Bot Framework docs, they are the best guides if you want to follow anything. If you want to learn Bot Framework Composer, the only thing where I will redirect you is the Bot Framework Composer docs. The flight bot, which I'm going to show you today, I have written a detailed blog post on that. So you can also follow that if you want to build a similar experience. And now let's look into the demo part. So this is Lewis, as I told you about it, but we'll jump into this one. So this is the bot framework composer. So if you go to the docs, you will go to the installation. So it will give you all the instructions over here. So I have done the same. I have followed the same instructions. This is my Windows terminal running, and I have got my composer running with that. So it's over here. When you will install bot framework composer for the first time, you will see this window without this bot, because I have been playing with a lot of bots. So you can just go to new, create any bot from the template. Let's go and create EcoBot just for the sake of it. So this is EcoBot. It has been created. I will just start it. So in start, it takes some time, and then it will give you a link test in emulator. So as I said that you must have emulator installed. Once I click on that, I will be asked to open up an emulator. I will click on open. Emulator will be open. And if I say hello, so you can see that it is sending. So at times, since it is, as I said, that it's in preview, it takes some time to evaluate the input. So you don't have to worry about that, whether it is why it is giving an error. So don't worry about it. So for the first time, it may lag a bit since, as I said, that it's in preview. They are improving a lot. Day by day, you will have new features. Of course, release by release, I meant. So yeah, so this is just a simple bot. I said hello. The bot replied back to me with hello. So this is nothing very cool about it. But it was that simple. You just created and then it went with the uh, emulator and send you a response. Now let's create a bot from scratch. And I will create a bot from scratch. I will name it as Global AI on Tour bot. So this is my Global AI on Tour bot. When I will create it from the scratch, I will see this screen. And the greeting, this is conversation update activity, which is already created. So what it does, it checks whether the user which has joined is the new user or the old user. So since we are building a flight bot, so we will send a message over here and we are considering this user as a new user. So we will just click on plus button and I'll send a response. So if I write over here that hello, I'm going to define two messages. Two messages just to show you the variance, as this is the language generation, as I said, that you can write, you can define the responses over here. So now I will just hit on start button. And then I'll open an emulator. So now you can see that the message has come. So it says, hello, welcome to the flight bot from Global AI on Tour. If I click on refresh, and if I keep on clicking on refresh, you can see that now it has given me a different message. So it chooses randomly and it has given me a different message. So now, since we have got this easy stuff done, if we want to add some new capabilities, some next level capabilities to your complex capabilities to your bot, you need to add a dialogue, right? And for that, you need to say that, okay, I want to track a flight. So you want to track a flight. Let's say you will just say, I want to track a flight. So if I write this word, or I want to track a flight ABC 123 or 80 123, then it should tell me the status of the flight. So how do I take it to my next dialogue? So for that, I need to create a trigger. And before I create a trigger, I need to go and set my recognizer type to Lewis. So I will go and set my recognizer type as Lewis. So when I set it to Lewis, what it will do, it will create an application in this Lewis portal. So what do I need from here? I just need to go to the settings, and over here there is my primary key. I will just need this. So since I've already copied it, so I'm just going to paste it. Now in new trigger, if you see intent recognized, we will name it as track flight intent. I have got my intent defined over here. So this is my track flight intent. So what I will do, I will just paste it over here, right? And I will submit. Now I have submitted my intent. So if anything related to this is landed towards bot will fire this trigger. So upon this trigger, what will I have to do? I will have to call a dialog. So let's create a new dialog. Right. Now I will just connect my flight tracking dialog. Upon this dialog, what I will do, I will send a message. And same stuff you can do. Now, if I click on restart, it will ask me for my primary key, as I said that I have already copied. So I will click over here. I will click on OK. So now it is starting publishing my application on Lewis. So if you notice that I'm not doing anything on Lewis, and if I go on my apps, you will see that Global AI on Tour Composer application has been created. So this is really cool. Same stuff, you can do this for booking dialogue as well. If you want to build a flight booking bot as well, so you can do that. So now I will just go to the flight emulator over here. So now it says that welcome to the flight tracking dialog, right? So it means that it has landed over here. So of course, now it will take me to, if you can see now that I'm defining some of the responses over here, I can also play with some of the responses. So I've already created one bot, which I will show you. It is the similar bot, and I have got everything covered in that. So we'll just, instead of recreating it from the scratch, I will just show you this experience first, and then I'll walk you through. So it's very simple. You don't need any developer knowledge or programming knowledge to learn this stuff. So as I said that sometimes it does not show me, although it has given me a message over here. I'll just refresh. So yes, so this is my message. As you can see, this message is defined over here on my greeting, right? So in my greeting, I have defined a very long message, right? So if I say, I want to track a flight. So what I will do, that instead of okay, before I show you this, I want to walk you through what I'm doing it over here so that you can have an idea. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the entities from Lewis, which has been whatever the entities have been extracted. So if I write a flight number over here, so it will be detected, and then it will turn into the adoptive expression. With the help of adoptive expressions, it will be turned to the uppercase, and then it will be stored in this object. So bot framework has got 4 memory objects: dialogue, conversation, user, or turn. So I'm using conversation object, and you can use dialogue object as well for this case. So flight number is stored over here. Same goes for the source and destination, because our use case was that either we should have a flight number to know the flight tracking, or we should have source and destination. If we don't have either of them, we must need flight number. So what I have done, I've created some conditions as well. So you can even create your some conditions by clicking over here and just create a condition branch, if and else, and you will be able to create a condition. So what I am doing over here, I've created a condition that if the length of the flight number is more than 0, right? So then on the case of true, I'm doing something which I will tell you later on. But if it is false, then ask about the source and destination. So there is a couple of ifs and else. And then if nothing is provided, then ask about just a flight number instead, rather than asking source and destinations. Right. So now let's talk about the source and destination first. So I'll say I want to track a flight from Sydney. So as I said, as I told you that this is the flight tracking dialog, of course it will fire, and then I have provided the source. How do I know that I have provided source? You can, in emulator, you can even trace your response. So in Lewis, you can see that source has been detected, but destination was not. So we need destination, and I will provide Melbourne as my destination. As soon as I provide Melbourne as my destination, you can see that it has shown an adoptive card response, all from bot framework composer. And this is not just a simple adaptive card. Of course, it's not dynamic, but it's a fancy one. So you can, this is the case when we are using some ifs and else and adaptive card. So now let me show you adaptive card, how I have defined adaptive card. So you can see that I have defined, I'm just calling adaptive card by passing some flight details to it. So where this adaptive card is stored. So now the good part is we have got these good options, and there are two major features which we need to explore. So one is user input, which we will not talk about it right now, and the other one is bot responses. So how bot is responding to your inputs. So now if you see, we will go to directly to the flight tracking dialog. So all of the responses which you are defining it over here in your responses, in your language generation when over here in your language generation responses, it is, they are stored over here, right? So now if I go to the edit mode, you will see that I have defined whole method like templates over here. So I can write even method like language generation templates over here. So if I want to create an adaptive card, what I did that I just called this language template. What it did that it created an activity type, and in addition to that, it has passed into this method in like flight details object to this method, and within this method I am calling this get flight number method as well. So what is this method, or you can say template? It goes over here, it says that if the flight number is not there, which is, of course, this is just for the sake of demo, so I'm just populating it as AB123. If the flight number is there, it populates the actual flight number. Same is the case for the source and destination. So since I have just created it for the sake of demo, you can create it with the whole actual data. And I know that some of you may be wondering that what is adaptive card. So this is a new way to deliver UI. It's a lightweight JSON on the backend. You can just create any card. We have got so many cards, cool cards available. So I'm using one of the similar ones. I've just added my my option of getting flight route, and that's it. Otherwise everything is similar. So you can also create it. And if you see this whole JSON, if I copy this whole JSON over from here and I paste it over here in their designer, if I go on designer and if I paste it over here, you can see that everything is there, right? So I created the similar experience over here, and then I copied the JSON, and then I created my placeholders for the dynamic data. So it's that simple. Now, in addition to this, what the other part what I did is, in addition to this, the other part what I did is I have created something else as well. So I have created some other experiences as well. So I will write, hello, I want to track a flight from Sydney. Oh, I think let's restart the spot. So yes. So now, if I want to handle any interruptions, which I spoke to you about, so how will you handle interruptions in what framework composer? So it's very simple. And I'll just show you first example and then I'll tell you how did I do that. So I'll say, I'll write help. So instead of acting on my destinations flow, bot framework composer has immediately responded on my help rather than on my interruption rather than answering my or processing my destination. So this is really cool feature and it is using adaptive dialogues. So this is really cool and I'm going to show you how you can do that easily, super easily. So over here, if you yes, so if you go on your question, right, and in your question, if you just turn from false, by default it is false, allow interruptions. So you just have to allow true. So where I have defined my help intent, in my help intent, I have just written, I need help, I want help, help me please. Although I have just written help over here, although I have just written help over here, but of course, since it is a natural language processing engine going on behind in Lewis, so it's smart enough to identify that it's a help dialog. So it's a help intent, and on the trigger of help intent, I am just forwarding it to my help dialog. On my help dialog, I've just defined a couple of responses, and it is giving you an answer to that. The last bit now is about our integration with Azure Functions. So this is my function. This is my basic Azure function, which is running right now. So I've created a simple function. I have just created a function and I'm populating some hardcode values. If you want to build an actual flight tracker API, or if you want to consume some actual flight tracker API, you can use this. This is there on my repo as well. If you go to github.com/Arafat Tehsin, you will see in one of my repos that I have placed this code. If you want me to provide you that link, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to do that. So what I am doing on my flight tracker is if I get my flight number, so what I'm doing is I will just go click on external resources and send HTTP request. So let me first show you a demo and then we'll try to see that how I am calling it. So now this 8373, you can see now it is there. It is no more AB123, which was a default response by get flight details template. And if you see on the uh, emulated trace, you can see that this trace is telling you that the service request to the Azure function has gone. So this is, of course, it is locally hosted over here on my machine. And you can, so it's so simple that you can even call Azure functions from the bot framework composer by just going over here, clicking on external resources, send HTTP request, define the get post or whatever the verb is, and then URL and the body if you are doing anything. So let me just explain you that what I did over here. I'm just calling this, and I have stored the result in my response as a type of JSON. I'm checking if the response is 200. Of course, if it is okay, then I'm getting the content in my flight details. As I said that I have hard coded it. I'm for sending all of it to the flight info object. So the content is there in flight details. As soon as I got the flight details content, I'm sending it to my adaptive card, and that's it. So this is how I have you can easily create flight tracker using bot framework composer. If you, and of course, what are the other resources to learn about bot framework composer? These are the resources. If you want to join bot builder community, you're more than welcome to do that. We have got so many things going on. I think that's it from my side. If you have got any questions, let me know.
Thank you very much, Arafat. Great session and awesome demo. We have
Yes.
at the moment no questions from the public,
Cool.
but I have some questions. So,
All right.
when you build a chatbot, for example, with Bot Framework SDK, you
Yeah.
might have some settings files, right? So where you could parameterize some stuff. Like in this case, now you were using an API that you were calling. Is there any
Yeah.
way in the composer that you can parameterize those data?
Yes. So exact. Are you talking about just the service? You can parameterize that service, or
Yeah, for example.
so I'm right now what I'm sending is I'm sending the flight number over here. So if you want to just parameterize the whole call, yes, you can do that by creating conditions.
Okay.
So yeah, so you can create. You have got bunch of options over here. Even you can incorporate switch as well if you want to call different services on different instances. So yeah, it is really cool, and I'm sure that it is going to be a game changer for bot development.
Yeah, it's well, there were some other players who already had some visual UIs to build chatbots, and that was really the missing link for
Yeah, yeah.
for
And if you
bot
want, there is one more thing which I forgot actually. That I think if we go to my composer, so you can see that these are the bots. If you click on bot, the bot which we created today, so you can see the whole code as well for that bot. So it's not that just it is created and you cannot even access it. You can access the code as well. So if you want to play with this code, of course, I don't think that it is recommended, but you can.
Well, you could extend it
Yeah,
if
you can extend it.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Um, Microsoft also has the Health bot, which also has a visual
Yeah.
UI.
Yes.
How would you compare those two?
Okay, so that I have not played it with a lot. So I would my word is for bot framework composer as of now.
Okay.
uh, until unless I match every feature of it, and the reason for that is bot framework composer is not domain specific. So you can create any bot with this bot framework composer. Of course, health bot is health, or the health accelerator is something really cool, and I can see that industries are building using that as well, bots building that as well, but I think that they are more related to health stuff, not with all the domains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Not so long ago, I think it's only a couple of days ago, the team has released also a pre-release of the composer.
Yes, so this you are talking about the desktop one, right?
Yeah,
Electron one.
exactly.
Yeah, so for that, it is very, very, very early stage. I'm not using that one. The reason for that is it had one small bug. And I reported that. Of course, they have already addressed it, but it will become a part of the next release. So when I go to the track the intent over here, if you see, if you go over here on the tracking intent, so if you try to add a new trigger, so it used to get frozen. This one, it used to get frozen, this window. So they have identified the issue and they are going to fix it. So yes, so that was the one which because I started creating it from Composer desktop tool, which is really cool now, because for this one you need to go for your terminal, install a couple of things. It may not be like, it is okay for developers, but it may not be so good for those who are citizen developer, or you can say no code or low code developer kind of people. Yes.
All right. If there's no more questions, we're going to wrap up. So thank you very much, Arafat. We wish you a nice day for the rest of the day. Thanks for joining with us on the Global AI on Virtual Tour, and we hope we can have you back another time.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, my name's Apansha Malik and I'm from Melbourne.
Tehsin Sami, it's Bal here.
Hi, I'm Alan Smith.
Hi, I'm Amy.
I come from Spain.
I'm Prasant from California.
大家好，我是卢建辉。
I'm Arafat from Australia.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Marsman from the United States.
Hi, I'm Arpita Gupta from India.
Hi, I'm Matthew Renton from the USA.
I'm Joe Spizak from California.
Hi, Medin Eddie Daoud, Greece, Ghana.
Hi, I'm Ana Famana.
Merhaba, ben Türkiye'den Daronya'dan.
Hi there. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.